Bueno, muy buenas tardes para todas las personas que se empiezan a unir a nuestra sesión informativa el día de hoy, 11 de noviembre del 2025. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a esta sesión que busca brindarles toda la información relacionada a la oferta académica, las opciones de financiación y todas las grandes oportunidades que nos ofrecen las universidades con las cuales Colfuturo tiene convenios. El día de hoy, como lo pueden observar, estamos con KTH Royal Institute of Technology, ubicado en Suecia, específicamente en Estocolmo. En esta ocasión nos está acompañando Hans. Hans es representante de esta universidad y es quien nos va a facilitar toda la información que él considera que es oportuna y pertinente para las personas que están empezando a planear su proyecto de posgrado en el exterior. Como sabrán, todos estos webinars se hacen en el marco de nuestra línea de convenios y acuerdos internacionales y con esta universidad se ofrecen 10 becas del 20% en el valor de la matrícula y se hace la acotación de que aplican exclusivamente para las maestrías que sean cursadas en su totalidad en KTH. Sin duda alguna es una gran oportunidad la que nos ofrece esta institución, así que la invitación es a que aprovechemos al máximo este espacio, que aprovechemos la presencia de Hans y de sus colegas que se van a conectar en un momento y que dejemos todas las inquietudes a través del cajón de Q&A que con muchísimo gusto ellos nos ayudarán a resolverlas. Entonces, sin más preámbulos, Hans, muchas gracias por estar aquí, por aceptar la invitación, por tu tiempo y disposición para estar aquí con nosotros presentándonos. Entonces, adelante, puedes dar inicio.
Gracias, Karen. Un gusto y gracias por la invitación. Yo me llamo Hans, yo trabajo en KTH como responsable de las relaciones que tenemos en América Latina. Y entonces, de hecho, ahora voy a cambiar a hablar en inglés para que todos mis colegas también. Today, me and my colleagues from KTH, Professor Anders Malmqvist and our COLFUTURO student Vivian will join me for this presentation. So we will talk about KTH and Sweden and some more practical things that are good to know. And then Anders will talk a bit more about energy technology at KTH. And then after that, Viviane will briefly share some of her experience being a COLFUTURO student at KTH. And then after that, we'll leave space for questions. So I will start so I will mainly focus on our master programs, but I also think it's important to give you a context. And KTH is located in Sweden. I don't know how much you know about Sweden, but it's a country in the north of Europe. It's quite big in terms of size. In population, it's somewhat smaller, about 10 million inhabitants. So if you do the equation, you can see that we have a lot of space per capita. And I would say that is actually something that characterizes Sweden as a country, that we have quite a lot of nature, and a lot of Swedes like to be out in the nature. And it is a country that has a tradition focusing on gender equality and green technologies. Another thing that might be worth to mention looking at these images is that it is a country that's quite marked by its seasons. So we have winter, summer, spring, autumn. So when you get the question, how's the weather in Sweden? It kind of depends if you're in June or December. So it could be everything from -30 up in the north during winter to +35 in the summer if you go more south in Sweden. So, and more relevant for this context is Sweden as an engineering country, and not just engineering, but also a country of innovation. And Sweden frequently ranks as one of the most innovative countries in the world, actually. And a lot of this has to do with its engineering tradition, and a lot of big companies that you might recognize, like IKEA, Ericsson, H&M, Volvo, for instance, are Swedish. These are older, bigger companies, but there are also a lot of relatively new companies stemming out from Sweden, like Spotify, for instance, which actually has a KTH connection, since the inventor of this, or inventors of the technology, most of them actually came from KTH. Bluetooth, the pacemaker, etc. The list is quite long, actually, and that's why Sweden ranks as the second, according to some lists, in as the most innovative countries in the world. And Stockholm is actually one of the cities with highest number of unicorns per capita in the world. And a unicorn means that you have like companies that are stemming out of like successful startup companies. Stockholm, KTH is located in Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden. It's a rather small city in relation to Bogota, but it's according to Swedish average is quite big. It's about 2 million inhabitants. It's a city that's very livable, in the sense that it has a lot of access to nature, a lot of forests, a lot of water, a lot of clean. In relation to many other capitals, it's rather clean. It has one of the best developed public transportations in the world. I can give you an example. I have 3 kids, and I don't have a car because I don't need to. I can take the bicycle, I can take the metro, I can take the bus. So there's no need for a car, for me at least. I mean, you see cars here, of course, but it's nothing in comparison to what you'll find in many cities in Latin America. So what about KTH? Well, KTH is the biggest technical university in Sweden. It's also the oldest and most prestigious. It's frequently ranked as one of the best universities in the world, and especially in engineering, it's considered a very good university. It's also, I mean, as you can see on these numbers, it says 13,000 students, so it's not very, very big, but being an engineering and technology focused university, it is quite big. And also, you should be aware of that these students most of them are full-time students, so not just taking a course at night and stuff, but these are like daytime, most full-time students. And as you can see on the PhD numbers, it's a rather research, and that's why it places itself quite good at the rank. Here's an image of the campus, which is located in the city center of Stockholm. And if you look at this image, you can visually see what I mentioned about the water and the forest. So even though this campus is located in the city center of Stockholm, we're surrounded by a big forest and plenty of water. So a lot of international students, they stay at our accommodation located at campus. But there are also other accommodation all across the city. They have smaller campuses out in Flemingsberg, up on the left here on the screen, and in Solna. And these are mostly life science related areas. So most of our students study at the campus in the city center. KTH, as well as many universities nowadays, focus a lot on SDGs and try to be an important node in the major transition of the world. So actually all master programs are required to relate to one of these, at least one of these. And Anders will talk later about the energy technology program. But in general, all master programs have this kind of structure, as you see on the yellow side here, that you study 3 semesters of like regular courses, and then the last semester you study, you do your thesis. So you don't need to care too much about the blue table here. It's just to give you a point of reference. So most of master programs are 2 years, as you can see on the yellow side here. And then the doctoral studies in Sweden are 4 years. And most doctoral students are employed and they get a salary. So it has a bit of a different structure than you would find in Colombia. So in total, we have 64 master programs, and all these are taught. And some of these are joint master programs, meaning that you study 1 year at KTH and 1 year at other European university. So here are all the programs listed. So if it doesn't say anything after the program name, it means that this is a regular 2-year program. If it's a parenthesis, like where it says joint, that means that it is a joint program. As I mentioned, you study 1 year at KTH and 1 year at another university. An important thing, if you're interested in a program where it says joint, is that be aware. These programs have different application deadlines. They have different application procedures. They might be tied to different scholarship programs, etc. So make sure that you read carefully to understand the structure of these programs. And as you could see here, one program listed is a 1-year program. The rest are 2 years. So I think Anders can later tell a bit more about the structure of some programs and the actual kind of content. But in general terms, you could say that teaching methods blends different components like lectures, but also a lot of seminars, a lot of teamwork, laboratory work, of course, depending on the characteristic of the program, and individual studies. So basically, it means that it requires you to take a lot of own responsibility to plan your studies. It also means that you need to get along with your study mates, and you need to learn how to work in groups. And in the end of the day, this is what engineers and other professionals do in their ordinary work, right? You usually work in groups. You need to collaborate, and you need to solve problems without very narrow instructions. So this is also a good way of training such capacities. We have a quite good structure for receiving students. So we have, for instance, arrival days. We have introduction weeks where you can take introductory English courses, where we also talk a little bit about academic standards and what is plagiarism and what should you think about when you use references and some basic things, or not basic, but some English preparatory components as well. We also have a counseling and health service and other support function at KTH, not least an accommodation unit that can help you out. And if you're a COLFUTURO student, you actually issue a housing guarantee, meaning that we'll make sure that you have somewhere to stay. It doesn't mean that we pay for your housing, but in Stockholm, it can be quite complicated sometimes to get housing. So it's a good service, I think, that we can offer COLFUTURO students. So how much does it cost to study at KTH? Well, first of all, I should mention that if you have a dual citizenship, if you have a EU passport, you're not required to pay any tuition fee. And I know there are various Colombian students that have passports from like Italy and Spain and so forth. So then it's free of charge. But of course, you need funds to live, and to get a student visa, you need to show these funds that you have funding. And approximately 10,000 crowns, which would be like $1,000 per month, is the recommendation, and also kind of the limit to get the student visa stipulated by the immigration. I think I'll come back to the actual cost of the program at a later stage. So the admission requirements are different for each program, but basically you need to finish your Colombian degree. And if it's, I think most of our students, they from Colombia, they have engineering degrees, right? In addition to that, you need to show English proficiency. Most Latin American students do that through TOEFL, but we also accept a range of different other tests as well, such as IELTS. There are also other examples that you can read more about in specific. And all programs also have kind of a slightly different requirements for what kind of documents they want to see from you. So when you, I can show you later on, but when you go into the website and read about each program, you can see more in detail what's required. But think about to start in time. It's very formal. Some of these documents are very formal, like you need notaris publicus, an official translation, and so forth. So this can take some time to get. It can take some time to get all the documents ready. Yes. Yeah. Here are the fees. So for the regular master programs, the fee for the 2 years would be approximately 32,000 euros. And then for COLFUTURO students, we offer a 20% reduction of the fee. So that would be less for COLFUTURO funded students. And then there's an application fee, which is about 80 euros. So that's what you pay to actually do the application. But it's worth mentioning that Sweden has a national application platform. So with that fee, you can apply for up to, is it 4 or 5 programs at different universities across Sweden. Except the COLFUTURO scholarship opportunities, there are other scholarships that you can apply for. And I know we've had a lot of COLFUTURO scholarship holders that have gotten funding from other places as well, like the KTH scholarship, for instance. Yeah, so I'll run through these last slides a bit quickly, but just to give you a point of reference, if it's difficult to get in or not. Well, on average, 30% of qualified applicants, meaning that there are more that applies, but among the ones that apply to fulfill the actual requirements of the specific programs, approximately 30% are accepted. Yeah, so up to 4 programs you can apply to. So the application is open now. We just have one application round per year, and that's for the intake that starts. So for the application is open now, and the deadline is mid-January, and that's to start in August 2026. So if you're at your last year, you can apply, and you can get a conditional acceptance. So you don't need to have finished your degree while applying. The important thing is that you have finished your degree once you get. So here you can see the deadlines. So you'll get notified end March, and as soon as you get notified, you start your migratory process to get the student visa, and then you arrive in Stockholm, Sweden, in August. And then here's just some examples about where people work after graduation. And the reason why KTH is the top employer is because PhDs, as I mentioned in the introduction, PhD studies in Sweden are considered employment. So you get a salary, a rather good salary. Yeah, so that's why. All right, I think that I'll stop with this slide. If you want to follow us more, we're present at social media. And you can also engage as student ambassadors. Each program has a student ambassador. So you can ask questions to a student that studies this program, or you can reach out to program directors or program representatives, as well as admissions office, etc. Yeah, so I think I'll stop there, and then I'll give the floor to Anders, right?
Thank you very much, Hans. So I will share my presentation, a few slides. So thank you very much for attending this seminar. What I will do in addition to the presentation from Hans is that I will give an example from the program in sustainable energy engineering for which I'm program director. I can say that this is quite typical for KTH master programs. The setup, of course, with the particular courses and so on differ a lot, but in principle, the structure is the same. So whatever I say can be applied to most programs as well. But let's cover up a little bit about the program as such. What is sustainable energy engineering? Well, what we do, as the name says, we aim to teach you how to reform our current energy systems to more sustainable, using renewables to a bigger extent, being cautious with how we use energy and how it is distributed among people on the globe. So we cover the entire energy chain from generation into distribution, and nowadays with PV panels and large wind farms, there is a need also to store energy for later use. To do this, we need to have a solid foundation based on different disciplines. Here we highlight mechanical, electrical, environmental engineering, but also system analysis is a big chunk in this program. As I said, renewables are important, and also to be cautious to use the energy in a more efficient way than we tend to do in our everyday lives, and also including new technologies. What we try to give our students is a combination of technical depth, and that is also highlighted with the background knowledge needed to be eligible for the program. I'll come back to that. But in addition to the depth, we also need to convey the way to think holistically. That is not only looking at the local needs, but also look at the impacts on a global scale. So to be eligible for the program, we have a fast track, you could call it. If you have a bachelor in mechanical engineering or chemical engineering, then normally you cover the subjects which are required to be eligible. That is thermodynamics, it's fluid mechanics, and heat transfer. So we require you to have a certain number of credits in these disciplines. And the reason for that, even if you are maybe not digging deep into fluid mechanics, you need to have a solid foundation to be able to judge. Also, if you study energy systems and simulations, since such systems are composed of technology, which are typically generators, thermal power plants, and so on. And to be able to judge and understand how they can contribute and what are the shortcomings of the different energy needs, then you need to have this foundation. In addition to that, as Hans mentioned, also there are requirements on English proficiency. So let's see, if you imagine now that you pass these two requirements, then you are eligible to apply for the program, and the program is set up as such that we have the 2 years. During first year, we have during the first semester, we have 4 mandatory courses, which reinforces the prior knowledge from your bachelor. These courses are energy systems for sustainable development, renewable energy technologies, and sustainable power generation. And the last one is how energy is used in the built environment. And now these colors reflects the three different profiles in the program. So for the second semester, then it's time to choose profile. You do not directly select the profile, but you select the course package, which brings you into one of three directions. It could be on an upper level, could be energy system analysis. And then we have two profiles which are more technology oriented, energy supply through clean conversion technologies, and energy in buildings and cities. You can call the first one or this mid one. This is how to produce energy in a good way. And the last one is how to use energy in the same good way. So then for the second year, then there are several courses within the specific profiles. And there is one mandatory course, and that one is called AI for Energy System Applications. So we have just recently packaged its course, and I can tell you it's a challenge to keep the course updated due to the fast development pace in the artificial intelligence field. Our flavor of it is to focus on energy applications, how it can be used to design new energy systems, it could be used to optimize systems, how to make sustainable energy systems available to different groups of people. And following that, and we keep it updated year by year. We remove some stuff which is already a bit old, and we add new parts in it as well. And then there are two mandatory courses within the profile, depending on the profile you give. We also have 12 credits out of total 120, and that means 10%. It's free electable within any of the KTH courses. However, we recommend you to spend some of these credits for further deepening within the profile. And to top this, the second year and the final semester, that's a full-time focus on your master thesis. And this is the crown of all your studies, where you are expected to integrate all your knowledge into one individual deep diving into research or into applications. So a bit more graphical, you can see it like this. You have the foundation for the mandatory courses. Then you go with either of the three profiles. And with the master thesis, then that could be preferably within your profile, but it could be brought in knowledge or applications from any of the other profiles, or in a wider context, it could be also in other fields of technology. Our requirement is that the energy aspect should be a major part of the thesis, and also in sustainable ways. But since most activities we do are consuming or are related in one way or the other to energy, so there is always a possibility to find an energy twist on any interesting subject you come across. Hans touched upon our teaching and learning setup. In the old days, we used to have lectures and then a big final exam. At KTH, there is a trend to go away from the final exams and to have a more continuous assessment. So we have several project-based courses where you can learn and be examined in the way you work in projects. We have a mixture of lectures, we have labs, we have a lot of simulations, and then we use different commercial packages and also open source packages. So here are some examples. And also to be pointed at, our projects are often based on real cases. So could be somewhere in the world, an energy system is to be designed based on local available sources, based on the actual political agenda in that region, and also the if it's a hot or a cold country, if there are seasonal changes and so on. And also in the Sustainable Energy Engineering Master, we have roughly 50% international students and 50% program students. So we strive to have project groups which are a mix of all students. So the unique knowledge from each and everyone can be used to get a broader view of the applications. I think I already mentioned the master thesis project. The thing is, you can do it either with a company or you can do it with KTH, or you can come up with an own thesis as well. That is one point. We have a requirement that there should be a Swedish abstract in the thesis as well. Although the program is taught and all communication is in English, there is still a requirement to write this. So if you enroll this program, then we encourage you also to take some Swedish courses along the way to be able to write this Swedish abstract. Writing it with your own words, not asking Google Translate or an AI to do it. That's a really, I'm challenging you now. So once you're finished, we have a lot of opportunities to go and work with international companies like utilities like Vattenfall, consultant companies, Afri, Sweco, international company ABB. We have alumni at the World Bank, etc. Or you can dig deeper into research. So many students actually start PhD studies at KTH or at other universities. When by law, all PhD positions in Sweden are supposed to be posted, so anyone can find it and apply for it from anywhere in the world. But of course, if you study at KTH and if you have especially done your master thesis in collaboration with the research project, then you have a deeper insight and you have some personal knowledge as well. So it is a little bit easier to find the right position in that way. But as I said, there are so many different opportunities throughout the world. So our alumni go to PhD studies in different places. Let's see, I have some, just to finalize my presentation, just to summarize, we have the English curriculum. Our courses are designed to be a full-time workload, and with full-time we calculate with 40 hours per week. You study typically 3 to 4 courses in parallel, but they can be time shifted. So in one course you have lectures, in another one you're working in a project and so on. The background I already mentioned, the thermodynamics, heat transfer and fluid dynamics. I didn't mention that while you're here, you can also go, for example, for one semester for another university in Europe or elsewhere to do some exchange studies, which are then allocated to your transcript from KTH. And our alumni work in many different places. And as you know, energy and sustainable energy is really needed in our world. So with that, I would like to finish my presentation. I will be around for any questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Anders. And then before we open the floor for questions, I'd also like to invite our student thank you, Vivian, for being here. And except for answering questions later on, perhaps you would like to share some of your experiences and tell the students here who you are.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Hans and Anders, for sharing all the information about KTH and the program. And it's okay if I switch to Spanish just to have like a closer discussion with the person, with the people interested. Well, okay. So compartiéndoles un poco de mi experiencia acá, el proceso de aplicación inició un poco más de un año antes de venir acá a Suecia. Primero con la preparación del examen de inglés. En mi caso presenté el IELTS, el cual pues lo recomiendo. Hay muchos recursos disponibles. Una vez ustedes tengan este resultado y revisen en la página de KTH tanto los programas, el pensum, las materias y definan aquella maestría o doctorado en el que están interesados, interesadas, puedan ir reuniendo toda la documentación con tiempo. En mi caso, estoy estudiando la maestría en Sustainable Technology. Estoy en el primer semestre de otoño y muchos de estos requisitos tuve que revisarlos y reunirlos con bastante anticipación porque no solamente es la documentación de los estudios previos de la universidad, sino las traducciones oficiales que tienen que hacer para subir en la plataforma que es University Admissions. ¿Cómo funciona acá en Suecia? Es que todo está centralizado por una plataforma que se llama University Admissions y a través de esta pueden aplicar enumerando los programas por prioridades. Entonces eligen el número uno, pueden aplicar hasta a 5 programas. En mi caso, la prioridad número uno siempre fue KTH con Sustainable Technology. Estos documentos, traducciones, también tienen que hacer una serie de homologación a los créditos europeos. En mi caso me lo solicitaban, toman tiempo, por lo que recomiendo que hagan toda esta documentación, la preparen con tiempo. La respuesta después de que finaliza como tal el periodo de aplicaciones a final de enero es muy rápida, más o menos a mitad de febrero del siguiente año ustedes ya tienen la respuesta. En mi caso, apliqué simultáneamente a COLFUTURO, al Swedish Institute y a la beca como tal que ofrece KTH. Como esta documentación, la mayoría se las van a pedir tanto para COLFUTURO. Una vez hagan y reúnan todos estos documentos, pues van a ir adelantando procesos para la aplicación de las becas también. Am, bueno, la vida acá en Suecia, como lo comentaba Hans, KTH ofrece muchas oportunidades, no solamente pues en el tema académico, sino también en ese engage en la sociedad sueca. Entonces, una vez, bueno, antes de llegar, KTH ofrece un programa de housing. En mi caso, soy beneficiaria como tal del housing de KTH. Vivo en el campus, en un apartamento compartido. La renta puede variar entre $530 a $1,000, dependiendo como tal de las características del espacio. También hay posibilidad de venir con su pareja, entiendo que hay espacios para pareja. Y una vez aplican para este programa de housing, pues bueno, no tenía conocimiento de que a los beneficiarios de COLFUTURO les aseguraban esto. Es muy conveniente porque en mi caso acá viviendo en el campus tengo clase a 5 minutos de mi apartamento. Ahora mismo que está comenzando a bajar la temperatura, sé que en invierno pues va a ser un poco más complicado para nosotros que venimos de un país tropical. pues va a ser muy conveniente. Hay otras acomodaciones que están a 20 minutos del campus, a media hora, son pues muy buenas opciones. Y también, como lo mencionaba Hans, el transporte es espectacular. El metro, el sistema de buses, el tram, los ferries, todo está conectado, solo se necesita una tarjeta o en la aplicación uno se puede transportar sin ningún problema. Las estaciones de metro acá en Estocolmo se caracterizan por ser galerías de arte. Lo pueden buscar en Google. En, en general, como en Escandinavia, por las condiciones del clima, creo que se han esforzado por tener estos espacios compartidos que sean muy amenos para las personas. Creo que aumenta mucho la calidad de vida. Bueno, un poco más ahora hacia la vida acá. Todo es muy organizado, muy estructurado. La calidad del aire es espectacular. Hay mucha naturaleza. El campus está rodeado de una reserva forestal, es un gran parque y detrás de este parque hay un lago, hay mucha agua, entonces a 10 minutos, 15 minutos caminando van a encontrar un paisaje súper lindo, es muy agradable. Bueno, ¿qué más les puedo contar de mi experiencia acá? Digamos que ya un poco el proceso con Colfuturo para identificar también el tema del presupuesto, de cuánto cuesta venir acá. Yo lo que recomiendo es utilizar todo el presupuesto que ofrece Colfuturo. Si no estoy mal, es de $50.000. Estos costos los pueden estimar entre si $700.000 de vivienda mensual. El costo de la comida, si bien es un poco más alto que en Colombia, aún así pues está bien siempre y cuando pues no cocine en casa. Am, bueno, y digamos que ya las oportunidades durante el estudio en KTH no solamente son académicas, los chapters de las facultades ofrecen diferentes tipos de grupos a los que ustedes se pueden asociar. Hay grupos de sostenibilidad que trabajan por el cambio climático. Que desarrollan otro tipo de habilidades, no sé, de actividades. Es súper interesante también envolverse porque se desarrolla mucho la red de contactos que considero también es muy, muy importante. Mm, y bueno, eso puede ser como a grandes rasgos. Desde este primer semestre, entiendo que los procesos en Suecia toman un poco más de tiempo, por lo que para tomar, por ejemplo, internships en verano del próximo año, ya los procesos de reclutamiento están iniciando, por lo que es recomendable iniciar la búsqueda un poco temprano. Mm, en cuanto al idioma, la universidad ofrece un curso que no tiene créditos de sueco, el cual estoy tomando. Es muy diferente a nuestra lengua, a español, pero pues también si tienen la oportunidad y están realmente interesados de venir a Suecia, pueden tener la iniciativa de empezar a estudiar sueco antes, quizás por aplicaciones como Duolingo. Una vez ya han empezado como tal todo el proceso de número de identificación acá en Suecia, una vez llegan, después de obtener el permiso de residencia, también ¿cómo se llama? La organización de impuestos acá ofrece cursos gratuitos intensivos de sueco. Entonces, son oportunidades no solo de la universidad, sino también como parte de Estocolmo, de Suecia, para vincular a los migrantes como sí, a la sociedad. Eso a grandes rasgos. Te cedo de nuevo la palabra, Hans, y gracias por este espacio. Gracias por invitarme.
Gracias, Vivian. Yo creo que ya saben todo. Muy bien, muy buena, eh, muy interesante escuchar un poco más de tu perspectiva. Yo creo que con esto vamos a abrir, usar el último tiempo a preguntas.
Sí,
But
Hans, Anders, Vivian, muchas gracias de verdad por esta presentación. Anders, thank you so much for the valuable information that you give us. We have some questions for you. So, well, the first question is, could you provide us some typical odds about getting involved into an internship or PhD after finishing Master of Science?
maybe Anders is best suitable to answer that question.
Yeah, as I said about PhDs, there are plenty of PhD positions, but you apply for them in competition with a lot of other students from all over the world. But clearly I can say that if we look around in our department, we have several of our previous students from the sustainable energy engineering track who are now pursuing PhD studies. So all in all, our department has about 100 persons engaged, and about 50% of them are PhD students. So I would say that I cannot give a fixed number on the odds, but clearly that's possible. And concerning internships, many of our students do their master thesis in the form of an internship with an external organization or company. And other students, they go for internships, for example, during the summer break between year 1 and year 2. So again, there are nice opportunities to do it, but you cannot take it for granted. You have to look for it, and you have to be active yourself to look up for such opportunities.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anders. Okay, it's possible. Oh no, sorry. If I have a Swedish Institute scholarship, would I still be eligible for these opportunities, such as exchange or double degree program?
Well, when it comes to double degrees, a lot of most of the double degree programs, they have their own scholarship funding. So for most of them, the Swedish Institute scholarship would not be applicable. Because one important aspect here is that you'll study 1 year outside of Sweden as well, and the Swedish Institute scholarships are funded by the Swedish government. The other question was if it's possible to go as an exchange student, or
Yeah, and a double degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
exchange and double degree.
Maybe you can help me out here, Anders. I think. I mean, in general, master degree students, they can go as an exchange student for 1 semester. However, it requires that the program director approves the study plan, and if it's a double degree, I think it's kind of hard to fit a whole semester. If you're just supposed to be at KTH 1 year, I think it's very difficult to to fit in a semester of exchange studies. Do you agree, Anders?
Yeah, so we have, when it comes to a double degree student, KTH has agreements with a number of universities, but that is based on the mutual exchange of students from that university going to KTH and vice versa. So if there are agreements available, then double degree can be applicable. But it's always open to apply for 1 semester exchange studies at another university, and that typically you apply for it, and you submit your study results and so on, and there is a ranking of students. It's quite popular to go for exchange studies. So you're not granted a position, but you do it in competition with other applying students.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. Does KTH offer any courses or programs related to entrepreneurship and innovation that international students can take?
Yeah, there are I mean, there are various programs that have that component, but I mean, there are some programs focusing more on that than others. So but it depends if the question relates to like just a specific course in that area, or more programs.
I can hook on to that. For example, in our program, we do not have courses directly as a part of the program, but within the free electable credits, you can certainly apply for or enroll in such a course in another part of KTH, as there are such courses available. I should also add that KTH has a unit called KTH Innovación, where students and faculty members and so on can get advice on how to develop own ideas into companies, or find already existing companies that can host new ideas. It's also interesting to know that according to Swedish law, US students at KTH and employees own the rights to the own findings. This means, for example, if you during your master thesis studies come across something which could be a patent or could be an embryo for a new product and a company, then you are the one who have the rights to it, and KTH Innovación will help you to make that idea grow.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, no sé si Hans
Yeah,
o Vivian me pueden...
Yeah, I could just also mention that there is a program called Technology-Based Entrepreneurship. I sent the link in the chat, and I'll also send the link to the KTH Innovación that Anders just mentioned in the chat.
Perfecto,
So,
gracias. Ok, Hans o Vivian, ¿cómo se realiza la homologación de los créditos?
well, when you apply, you mean, or like how you know? Well, yeah, it's more a kind of a equivalence. So, I mean, we have applicants from all over the world, and we have many Colombian students. So it's more, we have the admissions office, they have this, they know how the Colombian system works. So that's done quite automatically, I would say. So for instance, just to give you an idea, 30 ECTS means full equivalent of full-time studies for one semester. So then they have lists and everything to know what would an equivalent of one semester full-time studies be in Colombia, right? So yeah, so that's under control.
Okay. And the last question that we have for you is, what opportunities are there to build an industrial network?
Yeah, so in the presentation of Hans, it was stated that once you finish your studies, you can apply for a 1-year job-seeking visa. This means that you have the opportunity to stay in Sweden and find a job. And concerning networking, then we have several activities throughout the study period where companies come to KTH and offer positions, offer master thesis topics and so on. So there are, and also within the courses, we typically have guest lecturers from industry, and such lessons also is a base for connecting and exchanging information and build a network. Finally, I could also mention that we have an alumni LinkedIn group associated with our program, and within that one you can find a lot of previous students working in different companies, and use that for networking.
Perfect. Okay, Anders, Hans, Vivian, no tenemos más preguntas. We don't have any more questions for you. So thank you again so much for your time and for this presentation, and I hope to see you in the next opportunity.